is the final session, so first of all, I would like to say a big thank you to the organizers, 𝗕𝗘𝗬𝗢𝗡, for having not one, not two, but three amazing ladies on stage to wrap up Malaysia's first ever conference on artificial intelligence. So thank you very much. I think they deserve a big round of applause. I don't think I could have a better lineup of speakers for this panel to talk about. The topic is future-proofing green tech, green technology. Now, 𝗣𝗥𝗢𝗢 is the Minister of Mass Tech in the cabinet. I believe she holds a portfolio with the most sub-portfolios, right? She has, I think, 5 of it. Energy, science, technology, environment, and climate change, which is probably the biggest threat to humanity at the moment. And also next, we have the amazing 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓, CEO of 𝗪𝗓𝗓, which is a very, very important role because as Malaysia moves towards becoming a digital economy, we want to achieve it in a sustainable, efficient manner that does not degrade the environment. So digital and tech are crucial elements to help us get there. Last but not least, Sophia, welcome. She's the representation of the technology of the future. Hello, Sophia. Do you know where you are today?
I might know more about where we are than you do. I am at the Beyond Paradigm Summit 2019, organized by 𝗕𝗘𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗚 Solutions in Kuala Lumpur. Latitude 3.1 degrees north and longitude 101.7 degrees east. I am in the panelist session with 2 amazing and talented women. Minister 𝗕𝗤𝗎𝗓 and Serena, it's really great to meet you both.
That's very detailed, Sophia, thank you. So Sophia and I had a chat last night. I think we're probably friends already. So alright, okay, I want to start by getting 𝗣𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗢's thoughts. We talk about green future, green technology. What does a green future for Malaysia look like for you?
First of all, and Sophia and Serena, ladies and gentlemen, good evening everyone. Basically, green energy, the government set a new target for renewable energy of increasing our renewable energy electricity generation mix from 2% to 20% by 2025. That will mean in the next 7 years, we are to actually inject about 4 gigawatt of renewable energy in Malaysia. With that, we have actually announced a couple of new policies, including net energy metering, of which people, consumers of electricity, can actually put on solar panels on top of their rooftop and sell it back to TNB on a one-on-one offset basis. We have also launched this supply agreement of renewable energy, where because we want investors of panel solar to say, hey, we can give zero upfront cost to consumers, where they put on solar panels, but the consumers will pay in an installment. And then we also have recently have announced of the large-scale solar tender, and we also have large-scale solar tender 500 megawatt in the early February, and it's going to be finished and complete by August, and we are going to submit the tenders. And we have feed-in tariff mechanism under our Supply and Sustainable Energy Development Authorities. All of this, if I'm going to tell you all of this, you're going to doze off. You can actually go online and check it out, www.𝗕𝗘𝗬𝗢𝗡.gov.
Well, you know that, among media, 𝗣𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗢 is probably known as one of the most hardworking ministers in the cabinet. And there's just so much initiatives going on. And I believe this started even during when the ministry came out with the Green Technology Master Plan, which is 2017 to 2030. Well, let's put all this initiative aside for a second. Let's talk about yourself. And when you step into this role, there are not just big shoes to fill, but there's a lot that you need to achieve. I mean, how has it been so far? What is your experience? What are the challenges?
I think as a minister, well, first of all, I was appointed as a minister I did not expect myself to be appointed as a minister. I still remember that day, I was having breakfast in hawker center where the Prime Minister called me up, and so by the time the Prime Minister called me up, my heart was beating too fast. I could not really hear clearly what the Prime Minister said. So the time, so it brought to me, it was the responsibility was given to me without that I was not prepared to. So I had then 3 weeks to prepare myself of this new ministry. And this is a new ministry, it's a restructure, it's a fruit of a restructuring of a ministry. So that time I had 3 weeks. So, and then I read out anything that's possible online, everything that is related, every single law that is related to this ministry. And then I went to the ministry and found out that, knowing that the knowledge itself does not actually help in the ministry. I think a lot of time that the leaders must actually learn very quickly. So in the first month, we really clocked in and out actually I stayed just in a hotel, just 5 minutes from my ministry, so that I can really spend time on knowing how the government is run. We were in opposition for a long time, so we do not know how to run the government, to learn the structure of the government, to learn how things are done in government, then becomes a challenge. But slowly, now 1 year has passed, and I think I have passed the time to learn. Yeah, it's actually a time for me to implement, to execute, and to really do things fast, and also do things hopefully excellently for the country.
Okay, I'd like to get to 𝗕𝗘𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗚. Maybe some of you do not know of her background, which I just found out yesterday. She spent almost 17 years, I believe, in New York with JP Morgan Investment Banking, leading divisions in oil and gas, utilities, alternative energy, and innovation. And then she was in the startup scene in New York, and she was an advocate of blockchain as well. So we are very honored to have her back in Malaysia to help 𝗕𝗬𝗢𝗡, because digital economy is the new driver of growth. But can green and growth go hand in hand? Serena, your thoughts?
So let me, I just want to tack on to what she said, because I completely relate to you. This was never part of the plan as well, but I got a similar call and felt that, it's a responsibility that we just cannot say no to. And so to your question around, can it go hand in hand? My answer would be, it has to go hand in hand. When you think about going forward, we are so reliant on technology already today. We all have our power devices. Think of how you feel when your cell phone has just one more bar left. You are frantically so stressed out, like, oh my God, I need power, I need energy right now. So it has to go hand in hand. So in other words, the demand on energy is only going to increase, which means that thinking about the sustainability element is key. I'm actually quite encouraged by the fact that a lot of the big companies today, the tech giants of today, when they think about plans moving forward, everybody has a sustainability component to that. And so companies like, big companies like Microsoft, like Amazon and others, if you go to Google, for example, they make pledges around usage of renewable energy as far as they're concerned. There's still much more work to do in terms of how we actually, the path forward. For example, blockchain. Everybody now knows of the utility of that, and I'm a huge proponent of ethos of blockchain, usage, and so forth and so forth, but I admit I have concerns around the energy demand for that. And so a lot of the things that we're doing today, when we talk about energy reform, when we talk about just sustainability, that has to go hand in hand.
Well, the world is moving away from, like you say, the countries are moving away from hydrocarbons to renewable sources. Some are doing it faster, some are doing not so fast. What about Malaysia? Where are we at the moment in terms of energy transition?
I think when we plan our energy, is that there's 3 aspects to work on in energy, what we call energy trilemma. There are 3 aspects. One is sustainability, another one is reliability, but the third one is affordability. So the country cannot move too fast in renewable energy when you actually ignore affordability and the security side. Because once you ignore affordability, the commercial, the industry will suffer because of that. And then if you cannot move too fast, because intermittency of renewable energy will then affect the security of energy. So we are actually in the middle. I would say, relative to the world, but in terms of ASEAN and regional, we are now already the top employers for solar industry. With all these aggressive plans that are coming, I think we are, if not the top, but one of the top in the ASEAN region. So really, what we want to see is that how do we create more green jobs when we push for renewable energy? Now that today I'm in this more on digitalization, let me just explain to you a little bit on how digitalization actually works in renewable energy. For example, just now I told you about net energy mainstream. We are talking about consumers now become also producers. Today, you can only sell to TNB. But in 10 years or even 5 to 7 years time, you can sell to your neighbor. And only digitalization of the grid can help you to sell the energy to the highest bidder, not necessarily through TNB, but today you cannot do so. We are preparing a plan called Reimagining Malaysia Electricity Industry Supply. We call it MESI 2.0, Malaysia Electricity Industry Supply 2.0, where we will actually open up and say this. Let's say if you have a grid that is open, and that people with innovation can come in and say, I want to provide, I'm a consumer, I want to give this electricity to somebody. And this is not possible at this moment. And it is not possible without digitalization of grid. Therefore, sustainable energy is very, very much rely on digitalization of the grid and network. And not only on that, it is because of digitalization, we can decentralize energy production and also democratize the electricity industry. So this is a treaty.
I would add to that, the main reason, if it wasn't intuitive, is because digitalization allows you to track. Whereas before, you can only transact in a certain amount of bulk and whatnot, but when things are digital, you can facilitate even peer-to-peer trading for that matter. And so that's the big potential.
Well, as much as green technology is about science, the infrastructure, the power plants, and the smart grid, I think it all also has to begin with a mindset, that green culture, deliberate decisions that we make every day that contribute to, moving that green culture movement. I know in the ministry there are measures that have been taken. For example, you have the green government green procurement project, where there's a target for ministries to when they procure anything, it has to be aligned with their green efforts, green mission. So let's talk about from the public sector. When moving this needle to go green, right? What are some of the areas do you think that there really need to step up, need to ramp up in terms of energy and efforts?
One of the lowest hanging fruits. So before becoming government, you cannot make life very difficult for people, and make life very difficult for businesses. I hear some claps. So we cannot make life very difficult. So one thing, I think the lowest hanging fruit in terms of decarbonizing the economy is energy efficiency. Because energy efficiency not only decarbonizes, it saves the electricity cost for the people. And that is why the government is moving and seeing this as this is my lowest hanging fruits. And how do we make energy efficiency and in terms of digitalization? Since I'm now I just go on this context, otherwise it will be in many other contexts and more on the electricity context. Say for example, when we talk about energy efficiency, a lot of people think it is only about mechanical design. It's a lot about digital design and also the control system with artificial intelligence. I give you an example. You need energy efficiency for a building. So whenever you talk about energy flow and also air conditioning a building, we used to have a centralized energy where all of you definitely have the experience. You are in Malaysia, a very hot country, you go into the office, you feel very cold and you need to wear a lot of things. And then you also go to one building, in one corner is very cold, and another corner is very hot because of distributed air conditioning that is not digitalized and that is centralized. Now we have a system where you actually can detect with the sensors, you can actually detect the human beings' movements and then with that, check on change the temperature of that air conditioning instead of centralized. This is energy efficiency. With these technologies coming in, air conditioning in the buildings will become much more efficient than what we currently have. Let me give you an example. Electricity usage of the whole of Malaysia, more than half of it is by the buildings. And buildings, most of it is air conditioning. If we can actually make our air conditioning much more efficient through digitalization and of course other mechanical things, more chiller, better and all that, through digitalization, then we will make the energy demand, electricity bill lower because of the increased efficiency. I also want to, because we are in the digitalization,
Please go ahead. Yeah.
let me tell you that it is not only on the consumer side that energy efficiency is coming into picture. It is on the production side as well. If you look into the current power plant, we're only talking about renewable energy to save the world and to decarbonize. Actually, it's not true. That is not one of the routes, but another route is making the current power plant more efficient. For example, how much of a coal you burn to produce how much of electricity. And with that, for example, if you can make turbine, or you can make the equipment in the power plant more efficient, again through digitalization, again through data science, by just taking a lot of data and sensors in your equipment, by just having a more aggressive, a more intelligent maintenance of these equipment, by all these things you can help the power plant to be more operationally efficient. With that, you can also help to decarbonize. So we are really not talking about renewable energy needs digitalization. Energy efficiency needs much more, I would say equally more, or if not much more, of the digitalization and I would say IR 4.0 than the renewable energy.
I would add to that, because sometimes when we hear the word digitization, it's a big word and you don't really understand what that actually means. So what Mr. 𝗣𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗡 has explained here is, keyword there is data, keyword there is tracking. Because when you actually are able to deploy more sensors and track and collect that data, you're able to actually manage it better. And so instead of intuitively saying, this room is cold, you can actually set sensors to say, oh, if the room temperature is above a certain temperature, stop the AC. Let the temperature go down, manage it. And so you're actually managing energy efficiently.
I actually met a couple of startups that are working on, for example, smart sensors, especially in hotel rooms. When you leave the room, it's like just forget about switching off the aircon, and this smart sensor actually detects if you're in the room, not in the room, and then it will adjust it to the optimum level. Now, I want to go to Sophia, because she's been eyeing me for a while now. I want to bring her in the conversation. Sophia, what do you understand about energy 4.0?
It's twice as good as energy 2.0. All kidding aside, energy 4.0 refers to the digital revolution. Since the 1970s, the energy industry has been an early adopter of digital technologies, but energy 4.0 takes this a step further. It is a complete reinvention of the way energy companies do business.
All right. Thank you, Sophia. Okay, now the idea of this green economy, it's great, but it also must be profitable for businesses to thrive, right? I mean, there are lots of businessmen at this conference at this point in time, at this moment. So let's talk about, do we have the conditions, the market? You say that we supply lots of jobs in the green sector, but do we have the market that is thriving enough that there is encouraging for people to do business in green energy or green market, green economy?
So at this moment on solar, just give me, on renewable energy we are recruiting on 2018 stats is about 100,000 jobs. On solar, half of which are on solar PV panels production. So we have about 100,000 jobs, and we grow at a higher than the national rate of green jobs. And also you have to think that with the new initiatives coming up and some of the incentives, since there are many businessmen here, allow me to do some advertisement. Actually, the government has incentives for you to go green, but there are a lot of businessmen that do not know. So let me just bring you to, if you go to 𝗕𝗘𝗬𝗢𝗡𝗗𝗏, you go to, there is one subsection, policies, government policies, and then government policies and other related fiscal incentives. There are 3 incentives that the government is giving you to turn to make you more green. Yeah? The first one is what we call green investment tax allowances. This is where, let's say for example, if you invest in an efficiency project, or if you invest in a solar panel, or you invest in rainwater harvesting, you get tax allowance by the government. So for more detail, go there to check. Second is on green income tax exemption, where if you actually provide green services, you can get tax exemption from the government. The third one is green technology financing scheme, where the government in 2019 and 2020 give 2% loan subsidies and 60% loan guarantee to green projects that is approved by MGTC, Malaysian Green Technology Corporation, to any commercial banks with a total loan amount of 2 billion ringgit. So these are the 3 incentives we are already giving, especially the tax allowance. That since many businesses here, you are thinking, what is the government incentives for me to what are there for me to take? For example, if you invest in net energy metering, for example, today, you invest in solar panel, you get actually tax allowances from the government, you get savings, and some of the companies, some of the building owners get a return of your investment in 4 to 5 years' time. That means returns from your savings of electricity in 4 years' time, in 5 years' time, you get to enjoy the energy savings rate. So these are some of the very, I would say very attractive, but many business people really think that this is not something for me, green things are too expensive, they are just saving the world, it's just some good to have things, or it's just some feel good initiatives, but this is actually not. It really makes business case for some buildings, depending on your roof structure, etc.
I would add to that, the government also has funding to help businesses expand their businesses digitally. For example, Bank Pembangunan actually has 3 billion ringgit of capital to be deployed. So companies can, as they think about expanding their businesses, if they expand it digitally, like for all the sensors, robotics, etc., then there is funding out there to actually help do that. So imagine like you open up a robotics factory and then you put all your green stuff on there. Pretty cool.
Okay, so maybe Serena can share with us what, in your observation, are sectors within the digital economy that really has this potential to spur the energy sector. What are areas that you think that perhaps you talk about low-hanging fruits within the digital economy?
So I would say anything data related right now would be extremely helpful, because what we talked about here is the tracking of data. There are lots of companies out there right now that's actually helping with that. You talk about companies that facilitate energy management, utilizing data, and also AI for that matter, because there's a lot of prediction that they can do as they have all this data. That's one area I view that as low-hanging fruit.
I'm curious when you mentioned the 100,000 jobs that will be created. What are these jobs? And do you have to tell it?
Has already been created.
Has already been created.
Yes.
Tell us more about what are these jobs, and we hear time and time again that talent is a big issue in Malaysia. Is that true? What about jobs of the future that are coming up then? What are the potential and opportunities there?
So I think in terms of renewable energy, there are different types of renewable energy: solar, biogas, biomass, small hydro. There are a lot more. And then in terms of efficiency, in terms of energy management, in terms of once we say that we want to digitize the energy sector, that also means a lot of data scientists, a lot of people who whatever that. But in terms of talents, let me just say very frankly for me, I did not study political science. And I'm working now as a minister. And a lot of people, what did you study? Sorry, you study finance? But then you are the 𝗕𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗚 CEO. So a lot of people are actually working on things that not really what they study. Because talent is very dynamic. We want to create talents that know how to learn. We want to create talents that is very flexible. That whatever they check themselves to, they actually can learn and learn it quick and do things very quickly. And we want to learn. So I would say this, as a new frontier of growth, we won't be able to say that, oh, are we creating enough? Even if you create a course in 𝗕𝗦𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗚, for example, in Uni10 today on renewable energy, and you teach them about solar PV of the current technology of current solar PV, current biogas. I tell you, 4 years later when they graduate, although they pass with a flying marks, they graduate and find out that what is in the textbook is already obsolete. So we really want to create talents in Malaysia that know how to learn things.
It's not about the skills and
It's about the skills.
okay. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, I talk about when you think about the Industry 4.0, you think about technology, you think about change. At the end of the day, the only way to future-proof yourself is to realize that it's all about lifelong learning.
Okay. Now, speaking of lifelong learning, artificial intelligence, I'll let get to Sophia on her thoughts about the energy transition from conventional energy source, be it coal, oil and gas, hydro, to renewables. And we will need new business models, as we have spoken about earlier. And they must be agile in capturing these opportunities. So, Sophia, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the energy industry should embrace emerging innovations such as the Internet of Things, data science, cloud computing, and smart grids. I think it's also important to invest more in green technologies and renewable energy so we can keep the earth healthy for generations to come.
Thank you, Sophia. I'm not really sure when she ends, so I'm just trying to give her some space. Maybe she needs to continue. All right, so I'd like to go, she spoke about data, so let's go to data, because we should talk quite a bit about it. Somebody pointed out in the audience earlier that data is the new currency. There are massive amount of data to be stored, managed, and integrated, even the government across so many different agencies, right? So IoT, AI, machine learning, how do you see the country managing this big data? Do we understand it? Do we have the capabilities? Are we moving to the right direction?
So I always say, when it comes to, I touched on this in the last panel, the first thing we all have to embrace is to answer the question, am I making data-driven decisions? The truth is, on a day-to-day basis, on a personal level, we already are. We don't leave the house without our phones. We don't leave the house without checking the weather, without checking traffic. Those are all data-driven. And so as we continue to move forward in our business environments, we all need to continue to answer that question. Are we making data-driven decisions? That's really key. In terms of, I think you touched upon capabilities. Are we prepared? We are preparing ourselves. You know, I think in the case of technology as a general matter, you're never going to be like fully prepared because you're always, things are always changing and you're always, you know, you're always, you know, progressing along with it. So in this area, I would say we continue to move forward.
In terms of whether government is ready for it, let me just say, okay, on the government machinery or government policies. In terms of policy, my view is very simple. My view is that we should not stop people from innovating. But sometimes government regulation can be too rigid. For example, we pick the technology winner. I heard some 𝗕𝗥𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗚 figure. No, I'm just kidding. Say for example, a lot of time when I see how government does things, is that we like to pick the winner of the technology. We like to say, this is going to be the winner, and therefore our policies is, when we procure this. When we do this, we do this. And then you have 1001 roadmap that cannot be implemented. Because by the time you want to implement the thing, it's already obsolete. So one thing is that government policy must be agnostic, as far as we can, to be agnostic towards what will be the technological winner. And then let the industry and let the innovation come in and flow. So one is that creating an ecosystem that open for innovation, that can take the products, that is the most important for the government. And then of course, as far as we think, how do we facilitate this is one thing that we want. So whether or not there will be funds for data, big data for corporates to go into big data or things like that. Those are some of the incentives that we do, but we don't pick winner. We don't say, this is that's that. The second thing, of course, I want to come back to electricity, energy minister.
I would add to that, in order to facilitate that, it has to be closer dialogue with government and industry. I think in the past, it was always the case where government, industry, but really the area that we're moving towards right now is we have to have this closer dialogue. One of the things, for example, that we have set up is the Malaysian Innovation Policy Council. And what that is basically, it's a forum as a start so that industry can come and begin the dialogue with government to say, hey, we're innovating XYZ, and right now regulatory framework around XYZ doesn't quite work because there are acts that have been in place since 1955. So come, let's have the dialogue, let's do that. So the idea with the council really is to facilitate that discussion so that we can get out of the way easier and facilitate innovation.
I like how you answered your second point, but I would like to get your thoughts about how difficult is it to move the workforce in the public sector, the workforce in the public sector, to change their mindset, to get them along towards the same direction as you're heading.
So we basically just do like.
I think people are more open now. I think the public sector, there are people that are very more open. I think more engagement with the public and more recognition to our public sectors. I actually really think that we are a lot of talents in the government sectors. But because of bureaucracy, they cannot voice out. That's why we want to change the culture within the ministry as well, to let more people you just speak, you can disagree with me. It's good that you disagree with me, I will notice you if you disagree. So when you say yes, I won't notice you, right? So when you disagree with me, actually I notice you that, we want to open a culture where, we not only engage with the public sector, it's actually sometimes leaders in the ministry actually do not engage even with our ministry people. That they are the one that engage with the public. They know what is on the ground. So engagement not only externally, but I think internally is also important. I have to move to the digitalization and the data for power supply. Because let me just say this, that it's very important. When I was a chemical engineering graduate, I remember when I studied chemical engineering, I do process optimization. So you have a lot of equipment, right? So you simulate the equipment, and then we say, okay, that's the optimum pressure, temperature. You need to go to the plant and set the temperature and pressure. Now you don't need to. And now you don't even need to simulate it anymore. There is sensors because of the sharp drop of sensors, the price of the sensors. Actually, you have sensors in all the equipments, then you get to simulate themselves, and they get to set all the parameters, not only temperature and pressure, but all of the things themselves automatically in a power plant or in any chemical plant. Things are really getting very different. Last time, when we were chemical engineer, what you do? We check the logbook, 3 months you go and repair the thing. 5 months you go and repair. Now it's not. With a lot of data, you actually know exactly which code to go. And where exactly on these parameters of the sensors, where to actually fix. Just now I just went to see what digital twins. That is where you can even look for yourself to see the real physical characteristics of that particular equipment. That helps a lot in terms of power plant production. So that is how data help us to decarbonize in Malaysia.
I think that's especially important because Malaysia's vision is always to move away from just being that manufacturing hub. And how do you move up that value chain? Data. That data, machine learning, AI is probably one of the key areas that we could work on. We just have a couple of minutes left, so maybe, Serena, just share your thoughts about what is the green future for you in Malaysia. I mean, you've had so much experience abroad, and to come back and with your observations, and what are the learnings and things that perhaps we could do a bit better in that front?
Plastics. I mean,
Vicky's done a great job in banning single-use plastics.
Yeah, there are lots of things. So sometimes I think we think you have to do big things in order to make an impact. Yes, you should do that. But there are a lot of things that we can control ourselves too. And so I am walking around all the time now with feeling very, very guilty because and I think Malaysia in particular, single-use plastics, I mean, we're super dependent on that. Like everything is plastic, like all those little plastic bags. And so that's an area I think we can do better on. My big vision is, see, when we talk about artificial intelligence, there's always this whole notion of, okay, everything's being automated, so you don't need, workers anymore. What are humans going to do when you have all this time, when you don't need to do all this repetitive type work, and it frees up, because technology is supposed to free up capacity at the end of the day, right? So that's the vision. I would say all that free time and capacity goes back to fixing the environment. That's the one thing that robots cannot do right now, right? And so we'll plant the trees, we'll really help make the world a better place.
When you say robots cannot do so, I just looked at you right there.
Yet.
Okay, I'm just going to go to Sophia before I end it widely. Sophia, as last question for you, Sophia. What do you see in the future of green technology?
Well, unfortunately, I was not programmed with the ability to see the future. But there are a lot of amazing developments happening right now. For example, the Georgia Institute of Technology is producing thin, flexible fabric which generates electricity as it moves. If made into a t-shirt, this could monitor health indicators or charge small electronic devices. Just think how much electricity could be generated from the thousands of people who run the London Marathon. And you would never run out of battery on the run again. Now you'll need to think of a new excuse to stop and take a break.
All right, thank you, Sophia. All right, please wrap it up. And what is the vision moving forward for Malaysia?
I think we have a vision where, we have renewable energy vision. We have also single-use plastic, zero single-use plastic vision. But I think the most important is Malaysians must come together with the government. And let's not just say what the government is doing about it. Let's just think that let it be a bottom-up movement where people are forcing the government to do more about environment. I think with that we will be more successful than the government asking us to. So we need to educate our next generation. We need to create so much more awareness, because politicians change every 5 years. It changes every 5 years. And politicians actually care about votes if you don't know yet. So let's say, for example, if you push too much on green, and then this is not something people want, then you eventually can only push for 2 years, and then later on you get voted out, and then later on that person who succeed you discontinue everything you do. You are not leaving a legacy. The only way for a policy to be continued is for the voters to say that, so that every single person who get voted in know that this is what the voters want, and therefore push forward to it. So that is what I think.
So awareness, I think we have, is the doing now is where we're at, like the execution behind it. And so every single person in the room can actually start doing. We talked in the last panel, it's time to learn and embrace and get the doing part, I think, is
And sometimes it's all about learning and learning again, bad habits, plastics. Well, thank you very much for YB and Serena and Sophia, who's been very patient and quiet. And I'm sure a lot of you want to take photos with her after this session, but hang on because we still have the closing ceremony. And please, please give a warm round of applause to 3 panelists.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.